Even with talent, creative thinking, and hard work, selling radio advertising in a small town was tough. In the spring of 1957, Ober approached Don Heyne with the idea of merging WJMA with Heyne's WINA radio in Charlottesville.
I think he came with a direct idea of merging the two stations. He thought it would be a good idea and we could sell the two markets at the same time to advertisers, which is certainly possible, and we tried that. And we did have a rate card that covered both WINA and WJMA in Orange.
Now tied in with the big city radio station in Charlottesville, population 65,000, Ober hoped that more business would come WJMA's way, but there just weren't that many advertisers, and radio ads didn't command a high price in those days. Bill Little remembers there wasn't a lot of money available for ad writers or fancy production either.
And the first day I signed on at WJMA, I well remember, because Kane Furniture had an order for 100 ads that day. 50 cents an ad, that was a special. And I looked at the schedule, and I signed on at, a couple minutes of 6. And from 6 to 6:15, there were 3 Kane Furniture ads. And from 6:15 to 6:34, Kane Furniture ads. He liked to be in prime time. And 4 furniture ads between 7 and 7:50, And there was 1 piece of copy. So I learned pretty darn soon, you better start ad-libbing, or you're not going to do anything in this, because you can't just hold up the copy and read it, and then I just couldn't do it.
It's the type of thing, it's like a movie, you might say. If you don't get the money that day, you're not going to get it.
So one day they sent me up, and this was when Claude White was the manager, because I remember, they sent me up to Falconer Hardware. And 1-minute ads were $1.50 at the time on WJMA. It was an old store, typical old hardware store. Had 2 electric lights in it, one on one side, one on the other. And when I went and introduced myself to old Mr. Falconer, Johnny Falconer's dad, he was very polite, and he said, well, let's go over here. And he turned the light off over there on one side of the store. And we walked over to where it was, and then he turned the light on over there. And by gosh, I sold him 2 1-minute ads. 50% co-op, they were $1.50 each. He spent $3. I made a 15% commission out of that, 45 cents.
And those were the dying days of network. We had network all day long and evening. I think we still had some soap operas. We had some drama in the evening. I cannot tell you what they were, but I know I did no evening programming at all. We had all network feeds yet in late 58, early 59, and of course NBC News on the hour.
In the evenings, I was playing big band stuff, which I liked at the time. And that's mostly what there were. Bob Wagner had a show of big band sounds. I think it was an hour of that, and there was some rock and roll stuff.
I went down to I think there was something called the Eagle Store, if I'm not mistaken. And then there was Sparks Grocery. But they were the only 2 places in town that sold records. So I decided we were 1340 on the dial, so it would be the top 13 of 1340. Now, I know that the sales were not strong enough to do any kind of a definitive list. I know I had to be fudging, because even the #1 record, they wouldn't have sold 10 copies. So how authentic that list was, I don't know. And I would simply type that on the typewriter on a Friday or whatever and get a copy down to those 2 stores. But I thought it was something that hadn't been done, and maybe that would be a little bit of a hook to get the young people. This is the #1 record in Orange. Sounds good. Whether it really was or not, I'm not sure.
Well, what we tried to do, I think, was duplicate what we were doing here in Charlottesville. As I say, we never had, I don't recall that we ever had a local news service on WJMA that originated in Orange.
Well, as you think about it, we were the window to the world at that time to Orange.
You couldn't hear the AM at night, almost out of the town limits when you went to 250.
The light bulb-sized radio signal dismayed many listeners who could barely hear the station at the town's limits. Heyne decided it was time to move the radio station out of Al DeVivi's restaurant.
As I remember, I was a little unhappy with the location, and I don't think we were too close to the chapo that ran the motel. I had to get a location where I could cover more area.
When the radio station moved from its original location at the DeVivi restaurant on Route 15 south of Orange to new studios on Spicer's Mill Road, the daytime power increased from 250 watts to 1,000 watts.
That's exactly what I did, and moved the tower.
Heyne designed and built a new 4-room broadcast station. Long before the nation went green, WJMA utilized its new higher transmitter wattage, now the power of an electric frying pan, as an alternate energy source.
Because in those days, transmitters threw out a good amount of heat, so we put the transmitter in the station, we could heat the building when it was running. I remember that.